All praises to the mighty Yah. Thank you all for tuning in to Sit There Leon. This is Studio Man Podcast, episode 22, Marriage and Relationships, hosted by Morey Muel, Ben Yisrael of the House of Israel in Cincinnati. Hallelujah. How we doing today, Elder?
Sir.
We both woke up, and again, it's a beautiful day. It's a day like we've never seen before.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, the Almighty blessed me, people, with another year. Today is number 66 for me. It's my birthday, number 66. So we could call this the birthday edition, but we'll just call it the 22nd issue or the 22nd episode. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
But let me say this here today. If anybody have any questions pertaining to a man or husband or a relationship dealing with a man, please go ahead and type that in and we'll get to it. But today is a somewhat of a special episode. I know I talk about the women a lot. And like I say, when I'm talking about women, the things that I say that are not necessarily good do not pertain to all women. But I do say that it pertains to most here in the West. Here in this country, it's definitely pertaining to most. And what I would like people to do is do their own research, because I don't want anybody to think that, oh, Yim just be talking off out the back of his neck or something like that. No, I do diligent research. I search a lot of different platforms, and it just so happened that people don't have a problem with getting out there and putting their business out on the internet about how they feel, whether it's on TikTok or whether it's on YouTube or whatever platform they put it out there. And it just makes it so much easier, especially for a man who's actually looking for a good woman, just to listen to a woman and notice her demeanor, and he can tell off the rip the things that she says out of her mouth, if she's a part of the solution or if she's a part of the problem. And a lot of times women do not acknowledge that. So I'm just going to tell the whole truth. Like I said, when I have something negative to say about guys, and there's plenty to be said about a lot of these guys, I'm going to say it. I ain't going to hold back. But I'm going to give everybody, their just dessert, because the bottom line is the Almighty is unpleased with it. And we should be unpleased with it, especially if we represent our Father, right? So let's talk about some things here. We're going to kick it off with this statement I'm going to make. I do like to mix these things in and then put it in a particular order, but I'm just going to go out of order here for a second. There is a female that has her own private practice with trying to help people with their relationships, and so they have therapy sessions with her. Now, this woman has made a statement, and she got on on social media and made this statement that she has a bunch of clients, couples and some single women. But she made a statement and said that when she had to bring it to the woman's attention in a lot of cases, to where something that the woman may have been doing was not contributing to the health of that relationship that she was in, then women would get up abruptly and leave and discontinue coming to therapy because they didn't want to be held accountable. Now, that's the one complaint that a lot of men have, is concerning a woman not taking any accountability. So let's talk about that for a second. And if anybody's watching right now, chime in and tell me how you feel about that. Because if a person's not willing to do the work on themselves, then how can we be made better? Because again, I have to keep reminding us, we've all been through a lot of different traumas, and they have an effect on us. And a lot of the abnormalities that we've experienced from the time we were little until we got older, even until this very day, those abnormalities have become a part of us because we called ourselves normalizing something that can never be a normal behavior. Regardless of how often we see it or how often we're involved in it, it's still abnormal. It's not good. It's not healthy. So we take unhealthy habits into a relationship and we display those habits on our so-called mate or the other half, as we call them, then that's going to have an effect on them. And likewise, the things that they affect us with is going to have an effect on us. So we're both hitting one another with some things that are not acceptable. So then because of a lack of communication, or should I say, we don't know how to communicate in a way to where it can be a benefit to each person that's involved in the party. We don't have effective communication because again, men and women, we actually communicate differently. A lot of times you can have a conversation with somebody. I would advise both parties at one point in time to stop while they're talking and ask the other person if they understand what you're saying. If they nod or agree that they understand what you're saying, then ask them, well, kind of paraphrase what I've said so far, just to make sure that use your own words, but just to make sure that we're on the same page. And I did that so many different times. And guess what? In most cases, not only with younger people, but with older people, they'll say something completely different than what I just said. So I understand that men and women are completely different in the way that we communicate. You know, two women can talk together and be very vague about something, but they have an understanding. If you're talking to a man, men are more detail oriented. I need to know the facts. I need to know exactly what you're saying so I don't have to assume anything. So what do you think about what I just said? Women are abruptly getting up, walking out of therapy, never to return again when the female therapist share with them that they're doing something that's not bringing health to that particular relationship.
Yeah. The scripture says in Proverbs that the wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous is as bold as a lion. So when you describe that situation where, you're in therapy and as soon as this person or this woman doesn't hear something, they hear something like, I don't want to deal with that. They're running away from accountability, right? They're running away from responsibility. And it's only going to affect them in the long term. It's only going to affect them. A lot of people, when they get up and walk away and they run away from issues and problems, or they try to sweep problems under the rug, they don't realize the long-term effects that's going to have on you. I feel like we all here to become better servants of the Most High. We all here to become better, just better people in general for the people around us and for ourselves. So when we refuse to humble ourselves, especially if we here on therapy trying to work things out, and we refuse to humble ourselves in front of, and we have a professional here, somebody that does this for a living, that shows great arrogance. Shows arrogance, pride, and you know what I'm saying? Like, those things need to be addressed. It's some emotional things that's going on within that person that they need to address, and a lot of people are afraid to do that, so I can believe it. Just based on my personal experience as well. In previous relationships, you talk about certain things, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. Mm-hmm. But, is that the frame of mind we should have? Absolutely not. I feel like if we're confident in ourselves, we should be able to deal with any situation, any problem, no matter how hard it is.
Here's what's so deep about that. When you have a couple that's going to therapy, but in that couple, you have a man and a woman, and you're going to a woman therapist. Now, a man is already going to feel the way from going to a woman's therapist because he's going to feel like she's going to lean towards that woman's side. And women don't necessarily want to go to a man therapist because they believe she's going to lead with the man, right? That he's going to lead with the man. But when you go as a couple and your female therapist has something to say that's not being productive from that female that's coming there for therapy, that she could do something better, and then that female gets up and leaves out then that's the problem. See, because let me ask you a question. Who can correct a black woman? Who can correct a black woman? Another black woman can't even correct a black woman. That black woman's man can't correct a black woman. Now, again, when I talk about women, I'm not talking about all women. I'm gonna keep saying that throughout the podcast. And if you hear me saying it once, you know I'm gonna say it again. But if I forget, please understand I'm not talking about all women. In order for us to fix this issue, we have to actually recognize that we're out of order, whether it be the man or whether it be the woman, and want to be right, period. So let me ask you a question just to show you what I'm talking about, because the truth is consistent, right?
Yes, sir.
Should you be able to have standards? Yes or no?
Yes.
And a woman should be able to have standards, right?
Yes.
So if a woman says she's looking for a man, she wants to be at least 6 foot tall, right? She wants him to be athletically built, a nice build or whatnot. She wants him to make at least 6 figures, even have a 6-pack and all this old type of stuff. She wants him to have a nice car. She wants him to have a home or something already, because a lot of our women today, they have standards and they be trying to look for this perfect man. And the way they go about it, you need about 4, 5, 10 men in order to fill out the list that she have, right? So she has her standards. So now if a man say he don't want a woman that's fat and out of shape or whatnot, then now, according to that woman, he's fat shaming. If he don't want to be with her because she don't fit his criteria of what he wants, then he's out of order. So wait a minute. It's good for her to have standards, but not good for him to have his standards? Or she should always have what it is that she like in a man, and it shouldn't be a problem, right?
Right.
But he can't do that. But when a woman says that her man has to make at least 6 figures, that's going to be a minimum of $100,000, right? But the most she ever made might be $27,000 to $30,000, and she got 3 or 4 children already. About 3 or 4 different baby fathers, but she'll get mad if he don't want to deal with the different baby fathers and the 3 children. You see what I'm saying? Even if he's not interested in her, she's upset because he has a standard that he wants. And what would make a man who's making $100,000, who's single, who don't have any children, want a woman with 3 different children or 2 different children by different baby fathers, and she's not in shape and she's not up to his standard? So I think men and women should be able to search out what they want without being shamed. Period.
I'm all for that. Yeah, I'm all for that. And before I get into any relationship, you know what I'm saying, I make the things, I make who I am as transparent as possible, because no relationship should be started off with any insecurities. You know what I'm saying? If I don't fit up to your standard, please don't waste my time. You know what I mean? Vice versa. I'm not going to waste your time if you don't fit to my standards. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of what you said about a man not being able to have standards, that's something that we as black men, we just got to fight that off. You know what I'm saying? Because who's to say that we can't have standards? Why is it such a bad thing when we want things a certain way? You know what I'm saying? When we want something accustomed to us, we're ashamed and you shouldn't feel that way about this person. No, you should. You know what I mean? You shouldn't fat shame somebody, or you shouldn't guilt shame. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has standards. You know what I'm saying? And I have noticed, and it's not necessarily a race thing. It's more so black people go through these situations a lot because we're the ones we're the ones that's most economically deprived. We're in the situations where we have to put up with this stuff, regardless if we want to put up with it or not. We have to deal with this type of stuff. So my advice to the men out there is that have your standard and don't lower it for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because when you talk about a relationship, that's somebody that you're going to be seeing every single day. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure you definitely pick the right person that's accustomed to the type of lifestyle you want to live. And nobody should be shamed for that. Like me, me personally, I believe in polygamy. Like, that's not for everybody. I understand that. So I make that I make that known in the beginning before I deal with any woman. Like, hey, like later down the line, I may want to, you know what I'm saying? Because and it's not for lustful reasons, but it's for the mere fact that I want to have a legacy, a large legacy. I want to have a lot of children. You know what I'm saying? So that's my personal preference. A lot of women like, hey, you like polygamy. You know what I mean? Eyebrows start raising when I say that, even when I say it in front of certain men. Well, this was something that the Almighty allowed when we had our righteous kingdom. This was something that was permissible in His eyes. So why is it wrong for us? Vice versa, whatever type of standard you have when it comes to relationships, maintain that standard because, like I said, you're going to be with this person every single day. As a man, you're going to have somebody there that's going to be seeing you in your weak points, your strong points. She's the one that can hurt you the most, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So everything, we have to pick things with care and never let anybody manipulate you or trick you out of your position because at the end of the day, you're the king. You're supposed to invite this woman to your house. Not invite this woman to your house, but once you take this woman on as your wife, you're supposed to bring her into your house, into your domain, into your kingdom. So you should absolutely make sure that she's up to par. And that she's gonna, y'all willing, she's gonna have children. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So this is very serious. You know, I never let anybody trick me out of. I don't care how long I've known the person, what they do for me. I don't budge when it comes to my standards. I don't. And my standards, like you said, a lot of women want the 6 foot man, 100, 6 figures, nice car, nice watch, nice things. Hey, like a lot of men don't fit up to that standard. Like, and I get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But my standards aren't superficial like that. Mm-hmm. My standards are things you can achieve, regardless of what you have materialistically. My standards is more so your character, your attributes, your spirit, your heart. The things that God, the Almighty, say He judges. You know what I'm saying? The Almighty say man judged by all that criteria. So, you know, yeah, I'll never allow a woman to trick me out of my position, trick me out of my standard. That's manipulation.
Well, again, let me say this.
Yes, sir.
Some women, a lot of women, not all women, use manipulation tactics on a regular basis. For example, again, if a man who does not have any children at all wants to find himself in a relationship with a woman without children, but there's a woman who may have a child or 2 or 3 or whatever that's attracted to a certain man. If that particular man is not interested in that woman because she has multiple children and she has she has other fathers, the children's fathers in her life. If a man don't want to deal with a situation like that and he want to have his own children, men like that, black men are being shamed for wanting to have what it is that they want in a relationship. But again, I'm saying there's always a double standard.
Right.
And that's the most craziest thing that I've ever heard.
It's hurting. You know what I mean? It's hurting because you expect, out of all, could we present this question when it comes to all the other nations and their women? Who's the most, out of all the nations, which woman is the least loyal to her race?
I'll go ahead and say that to you right now. It's the black woman.
Yeah.
I'll say that. And the black woman are getting mad. Tell the truth. And I'll tell you what, here's what's so crucial. They can get out there and they can find the stats they daggone self. Right. But anytime I'll tell the older man, a younger man, I say, if you ever want to have an argument, which that's not what we're about. We don't want to get no argument started. I say, but if you tell the truth, when women say, just tell me the truth, then you're going to start an argument. You're going to start an argument because you gave somebody what they wanted. You see what I'm saying? Absolutely. So let's talk about something else. Yeah. Why is it that today's relationships, and I'm sure that a lot of women, hopefully there's some women that's watching here and to chime in, with a lot of relationships here in this country by black women, it's almost like they're selling themselves. It's like they're saying, look here, what can you do for me? In other words, it ain't about a loving relationship in a lot of cases. Again, ladies, I'm not saying all cases. I'm saying a bunch of cases, and you can get out there and do the research yourself. Women are saying they will be in a relationship with you. They're not going to cook. They're not going to clean. They give you a little bit of the punani and whatnot, but you're going to pay their bills. And this is starting out. You're going to pay their bills and you're going to buy them the things that they want. You know, and I don't know where they got all of this foolery from, but this is going around. And then if you say that you're not with that, then they call you broke and dusty. That's just like there's some things going around. These women talking about you can't take them to the Cheesecake Factory and this, that, and the other, and they tell you to send them some money. What's one of them little apps you can use to send them some money? Send them some
Cash
money.
App.
Yeah, cash out me so they can go get some lunch. You know, and you send them $25, $30, right? You send them $25, $30, and then they have a fit with that. Talk about you should have sent them at least $100. See, these standards are so ridiculous. I can understand myself why men are walking away from relationships in general, because the women, again, ladies, not all women, but a bunch of women are ruining it for a good woman that's out there. Because men, and I guarantee y'all, if you do a lot of research, the vast majority of men, black men in this country, is saying they done had enough, because this is absolutely ridiculous. Now, the bottom line is when you see women, even when they got these balloon busting programs that they have out there, they're always coming out talking about they want a provider. Let me say this again, and I'm going to be perfectly clear with it. A man's provisions should be for his wife. So when all these women talking about, I want a provider, I want a provider, I want a provider, where the hell do y'all get that from? That's trying to use a man for his resources. Period. That's the only thing that's about. And then when you come into a relationship with someone saying that you're not going to cook, you're not going to clean because you're not their mother and all this, but you want access to this man's resources when you're not deserving of it. So every woman, for the most part, again, I'm not talking about all women. I know I just said every woman. When you go out there and you put on your nails, you hide them big butterfly lashes and all those little things that you can go and make yourself look a certain way. And at the same time you're doing it, talking about you can't stand fake people. And then you say you were 10, right? And every woman is a 10. I don't know where we get that from because every guy ain't a 10. So just happy that the Most High made every woman a 10, right? Right? So if every woman is a 10, there's no room for error. I say Beyonce might be a good 8 on a straight day, straight out the shower, no makeup or whatever. But every woman, when they go to putting stuff on, that's just like I said, if you put if a patch of your locks came out and you put a patch of locks back in, you know, that look some fake hair, they'll talk about you. They'll talk about you.
Oh, yeah.
You see, but the bottom line is we got to get up off of all this stuff that don't mean nothing. And we have to be real and get back to real, genuine relationships because we care about one another and stop trying to use one another. That's just like, I know some guys that, especially in the winter months, they're going to try to find them excuse me, ladies, not to be rude. I'm going to tell the truth now. A lot of these guys, they'll go out and they'll try to find them a fat chick. And I'm going to say a fat chick because they know she's cooking, she's eating. That way they'll try to move in with her for a while during those winter months because they know he gonna eat. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this to try to be funny. I'm giving y'all some game. See, men and women got their little game, but we ain't got time to be playing games. And then when that weather change and it's summertime again, then he'll break up with that woman. And he'll be right back out there. You see, we got to quit all this foolery and everything so that we can make some daggone progress and honor the Creator. And I can't say this enough, and I'm going to say it again. A lot of times, women will get upset. Like I just made a statement, women will get upset a lot of times when guys don't want to get involved with them because they have, children already. especially guys who don't have children. They don't want to get into a relationship, and then they not only paying for to be with that woman because a woman they expect a man to pay certain things in today's society, right? A man don't want to be paying for her and somebody else's children. You see what I'm saying? So here's the thing. Now we know there was a time to where a woman, again, we discussed this before, a woman was supposed to be a virgin before she was married, and generally she was married before she had any children. If a woman makes we'll call it a mistake, and she have a child without being married, right? Then okay, she made a mistake. But what about when she does it again? And she does it again with somebody else? Is it a mistake when you knew what you were doing? You know you're giving away something that you shouldn't be giving away to somebody who most likely don't deserve it. But not only did you make that second mistake, now you done made a third and fourth mistake. Come on. But then you get upset when a man says he has certain standards and that's not what he necessarily wants to deal with. So we got to keep it right. We have to have men who want to be right. Quit trying to entice these women to lay with you when you know you don't have no good intentions. I'll say that to them. I don't care what man, I'll tell them that. But I also tell them women, keep your legs closed tight. Period. See, the hookup culture done got a whole lot of people all messed up. It's got people messed up to the point to where you can get all over social media, and I swear to you, you'll by the thousands, you will literally hear women who will say that they would much rather be a whore. People are so, and they'll use those words. They'll get on the internet thinking that the person that they with won't see the interview that they do on there, and they'll let you know that they're out of town cheating on the person that they're supposed to be with to someplace else. I see this on a regular basis. And then they'll boast about it. So that's why I'm saying this for a lot of people getting involved in a relationship or looking for somebody to be right with you. It's like a crapshoot. And who really wants that? I mean, to the point to where guys now are saying they're comfortable, not even approaching a female, because in a lot of cases you'll see where they might approach a female because they think she's cute and they want to get to know her, and then the woman will be so rude and nasty to them for even approaching her. Now, in every case I'm talking about right now, I'm only talking about black people. I ain't talking about no other ethnicity. I'm talking about black people. I'm talking about black men and black women. That's my concern right now. Like I say, I'm fearful, man. Even your generation, you ain't but 27, right?
Yeah.
You could be 28 when?
August 17th.
Coming up.
Yes.
Coming up next month. So by the time you're 28, say if you're looking for a wife, I want you to know, trust, and believe and understand this. Just because a person look like you and might have hair just like you, that don't mean that individual's going to treat you right. And likewise, they might be believing you're not going to treat them right. That's the reason I say people got to go through this interview process. And if you find red flags off the top, do not ignore them. Don't ignore them. Don't ignore them. If you had to pick one quality, just one quality that you would look for, I'll tell you what my quality would be. It ain't going to be looks. It's going to be, is she kind? Not nice. Is she kind? See, that's going to say a lot. And for me personally, I'm already married, but I would never go for that. See, men are visual. They want that 10. They want that dime. You know what I would go for? I would go for an average looking woman. An average looking woman. Because I know an average looking woman, more likely she going to have a better heart, because a lot of women who put all this stuff on, this, that, and the other, like I said, when I see them putting on them wigs and all that, their whole personality changed to go along with the wig. Again, ladies, I'm not talking about all, I'm talking about a lot. But when a person is generally just a kind individual, that's going to stay that way.
Yes, sir.
That's going to stay that way. And I ain't talking about going out and just find you an ugly woman. I'm not trying to call anybody ugly. I'm talking about just a regular, plain woman who knows how to love. There you go. Who knows how to love herself. I ain't talking about somebody who want to go out and get a BBL. I ain't talking about somebody who feel like they got to go out and buy fingernails all the time. And I ain't talking about, no, I'm talking about just an average woman. Because you know what I found?
What's that?
Those have a nicer personality. Think about what I'm saying. They generally have a nicer personality than these younger people that's up out here just trying to put on all this other stuff. You see what I'm saying? I call it just putting on your costume. That's what I call it. Now, what would they call it if you did all that?
Huh?
Yeah,
a loser.
See, here's the thing. You get a bunch of women that get on the internet, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to use a beauty filter. Bam! And when you see them, they might not exactly look like that. But boy, you better not use no filter when you get on there. You better not use no filter when you get out there, and then they take a good look at you or whatnot. Not that you're a bad looking guy or anything, they're going to find something to say. Again, ladies, I'm not talking about all of y'all, definitely not. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Tell me what you feel so far about what I'm saying.
Let's go through some of the comments.
Let's go through some of them. How you doing, young man?
That's my brother right there.
What do you think about some of the stuff I'm talking about here?
It's all legit on what you're saying. Like,
You say it's all
we
legit?
don't live an authentic life.
We don't live an authentic life because everybody, for the most part, when I say everybody, I ain't talking about everybody. They trying to build themselves up to be something that they're not.
You want to join the conversation, brother?
If you want to join the conversation, we got room for you, brother. We got room for you.
Get a chair.
If you got some wisdom, you're welcome.
But yeah, comments.
Shalom, Elder Abia. How you doing? Love you. She says, what about when you're done, you're done?
How does she mean?
I'm not sure how she meant, but that was her comment. Yah can correct if you let Yah convert your soul. Yah formed, shaped, and molded us. Man did not make woman. Yah can correct if you let Yah convert your soul. Yah formed, shaped, and molded us. Man did not make women. You got to take time to get to know your future.
Yep.
If that is what's on your mind. Why fault that woman? Be a better hunter. She got a point.
Wait, is that still come from the elder?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Shalom to Delta Roots. Shalom to Moreya Shashikor. And she said, Abia said that's true on the point you was making about the, I believe it was about, I can't even remember what it was about, but I think it was pertaining to them being with another man or something. I don't know, something you were saying about that. Delta Roots, Shalom too. But yeah, you
That's the elder from Class of Beer, right?
Yeah.
Shalom, Elder. I'm glad you chimed in. And again, I have to say this. I just want to tell the truth about the men and the women because I think the way that we're doing as a people is just a shame. And I think that we're offending our Creator by our actions. And I just know that we can be better, and I want us to be better. So my thing is I'm going to expose a lot about the males and the females. That way at least people know what to look for when they're looking for a mate, because our relationships are declining. I think even our relationships with the Most High is declining. And man, it just really breaks my heart. I'm telling you, because as I get older, I just want to keep getting wiser. And so I'm going to open up my mouth and cry loud and spare not. And I've been guilty of some of the things that I talk about myself in my younger years. So I'm definitely not trying to play the holy denial type role. And I've shared with people that I've done things that I'm not happy with. And the older I get, the better I want to be. And so we got to expose all of the foolery. We just really got to do that. Now, what I want to do is I want to get to know what we got here. So I want you to move on over into this shot here. Let me move over so you can get in here and introduce yourself.
This is Big Mike from the Mike and Dion podcast, man. It's a big dog right here.
I do a little bit of talking, and you feel me, like conversate a little bit with with our community, So yeah, but I did like what you were saying, as far as how we don't basically just live an authentic life. Yeah.
Okay. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 31.
Every day we talk, cut that green light on. Then when you stop, just cut out. No, just right here.
Oh, okay.
You're 31, right?
Yeah, I'm 31.
Okay. You got any children?
I don't.
Are you in a relationship with anybody right now?
No, I'm just working, focusing on me right now.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Way to go. So we're gonna talk about some things and we're gonna get some input.
Okay.
Thank you for joining the podcast with us.
Thank you for inviting me today.
No problem. I'm getting ready to check out something, and then we're gonna pass it around and see what we got with it. All right.
Okay.
So here, let me start at the back, and we're gonna work our way up front.
What's the?
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ask some questions, and I'm gonna get some signs of what I believe to be signs we should look for in a woman that's wife material. And ladies, while you're out there, you can send us some things, and I can tell you some things, some qualities that you should look for in a man to say that he's good husband material. But right now, I want to talk about some things that men should look for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give some examples, and then I want you guys to add to it. All right? Okay. Because see, a lot of times when you're in a relationship or trying to build a relationship, it's a good possibility that at the start of that relationship, you're going to be talking to a representative. Just like she may be talking to a representative, because a lot of times people are not just straightforward, honest. And I wish we could just be that honest type of people to where you just represent who you are and she represents who she is. And that way you can honestly get to know people instead of going for 2 or 3 months. And then you start to see that this is actually a different person that you're talking to. So let me get some signs that a person might look for in a mate to see that she is wife material. And y'all tell me out there what you think about what I'm saying. One of the first things is I say, she don't want you to waste unnecessary money on her, just buying things, trying to impress her. She would rather you invest that money. And so maybe you get some future returns up off of it. That's one thing. She'll openly say, look, I don't need you wasting money on me. Whereas a lot of women will say, hey, shoot, can we go shopping? And she want to buy a purse, some shoes or whatever. Right? Another quality that you might want to look for. She wants a peaceful relationship. She not only wants to be your peace, she want to be at peace herself in the relationship, and you guys actually get along and enjoy one another's company, getting to know one another, right? She stays with you through the good and the bad times. A lot of times when that water get rough, people go try to swim away, right? Yeah. And a lot of times, if you go through a downfall, so to speak, it could be a man who been doing some things, say he been dating this woman, probably had marriage on the mind, ain't never even brought it up to her, but he still had that on the mind. He trying to see what she about, but he lose his job. Say He might have had a good job, he lose his job, and then there's been a whole lot of cases that shortly after, he lose her too. because he can't be doing some of the things that he was doing. That's where I would always advise a guy, never, ever lead with your wallet. Because then you start to set a standard, and that standard is high right off the top. A lot of times right now, and these times when you're trying to meet a person, they don't want you to take them on a coffee date. They want you to take them to a 5-star restaurant or something. You can't take them for a walk in the park or go someplace where you can have a good conversation and get to know a person. No, they want you to spend some money. And it's so daggone foolish. Even rich people disagree because they try to set a standard and put a price on saying what you need to spend just to get to take them out to see if you even like them. And the average price that's going around is you need to spend about $300 on a date to go take somebody out. Does that make sense? It don't make no sense to me. Let's see what else is to let you know that she's wife material. So you can cry in front of her and she ain't going to look down on you. And you can be confident that she's not going to see you as being a lesser person, right? She don't have a problem with allowing you to lead.
That's a big one.
Because marriage, is marriage a partnership? Now, be careful how you answer that.
I'm gonna say it's if it's from like if y'all marriage is based on love, then yes, it's a partnership.
Shut your mic up. Can you tell me where you got that from? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, marriage has never been a partnership, and I'm going to explain it. I promise you, I'm going to explain it to you. But most people in modern times here who have that modern mindset, they don't really understand tradition or where that even comes from. They believe that marriage is a partnership. And I have to say that just to get you to think a little bit, if marriage is a partnership, then who's the head? Who's the head of the house? Both y'all?
No, the man is. I'm gonna say this, and this is my opinion. The man is supposed to lead. The woman is supposed to be a helpmate. But I think we just in a different time now to where it gotta like it should be like 50-50 almost. Cause I feel like economics play a big thing in relationships nowadays. And I think that affects who you date and who you get married to.
Who ordained marriage?
Who ordained it?
Mm-hmm. Who ordained? Let me add to that. Not only who ordained marriage, who set the standard for what marriage is and who set the roles for marriage. Regardless of what time we're in. You know, yesterday at the sanctuary, I talked about can we keep the Almighty's laws when we're dealing with having a modern day mindset versus a traditional mindset, and tradition was passed down by way of the law. So if the Almighty ordained marriage, which he did, and he had already made man, and then he turned around and made the woman for the man because it wasn't good for man to be alone, and he wanted man to have a helpmate, and he wanted man to be able to procreate as well. So he made him a wife, and then he put the man over the wife. The man is to lead his household. So if a man is going to lead, the relationship could never be a partnership. I'm not saying you'd be abusive or anything like that. I'm saying the Almighty has an order. And in order for us to be successful in our relationships, then we must maintain that order. And a lot of the reasons that we're out of order right now is because a lot of men gave up their power and the woman was running the house even when the man was in there. The woman would call the shots for whatever reason. But I guarantee you, if somebody broke in the house in the middle of the daggone night and you upstairs in the bed and you hear the glass breaking, you know, she gonna say, bump that man and say, hey, you better get down there and check, see what's going on. Or is the man going to say, well, wait a minute, we partners. Maybe it's your turn. Go down there. Talk to me.
Okay. So let me elaborate myself a little more, because when I say partnership, I don't mean like she doing the same roles I'm doing. It's that we have a whole household and we all have to do our part, you know what I'm saying? Cause it's a partnership. You feel me? You have to understand that I am the man and I will lead us as I follow the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And I need you to do your part as I'm doing that. That's a partnership. That's how I look at it.
Hold on. I got to say this because, see, we don't want to confuse any woman that's looking for a husband, and we don't want to confuse any man that's looking for a wife. I can see what you're saying, but we have to stay in line with what thus says Yah. That way it can't be any confusion. See, the world is thinking that the marriage is a partnership. So if a woman, and you have to consider that men and women actually do think differently. We communicate differently as well. So if you share with her that she's a partner, then that means y'all a 50-50 partner. So it's a toss up at that point. So if you say, like I talked to a school teacher before, she said she overruled her husband, override his decisions all the time. You know, she said marriage is a partnership. I said, wait a minute. And I shared some things with her, and then I left it alone because that's not my relationship. But then once I pointed things out, she understood. But her mentality was, but still, I'm going to do what she going to do. You see what I'm saying? And if your house is out of order and the Almighty put you at the head of that house, if that house is out of order, who's accountable to the Almighty?
It'll be us, man, because we're responsible for that.
So you see what I'm talking about the partnership?
Right. And I'm only saying that not to disagree with what you're saying, is because I think for my generation, times is changing, and I'm not saying that us men stop being men. Like, still need to be head hold, and you know what I'm saying, like have order over your house. But I'm just saying, like, it's just women now are operating more in a masculine energy, which is considered normal right now because we're in a different time. And what I'm saying is that they're not meant to, take over the household because it's not built in them genetically to to do that. I think they're given, a false perspective of, when they say that, the women, I don't need a man to do stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's what I'm saying is like you have to learn to be fluid with the times and how you deal with today's women.
Let me cut through the chase. Let me give you an example. Can we keep the Almighty's laws? And see, that's where we fall short because we don't keep his order. When we don't keep the Almighty's order, then we're out of order. So can we be successful and have the Almighty backing us if we go away from him based on it's a different time? Because the Almighty said his word stand forever. He said nothing can be added to it and nothing can be diminished out from it. He said that we would be the ones who would be reproved and be found to be a liar. So, in fact, if we want to have a good relationship with the Almighty so we can get that abundance of blessings and prosperity, that means we have to be walking with him. That means we have to be in line with him. If we're not in line with him, that means we're walking against him. Right. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's the reason that he put that man in the head, because women a lot of times, and this is nothing negative on women because men and women have emotions, but men are supposed to use logic, whereas a lot of times women, depending on that woman, live in their emotions for the most part. You see what I'm saying? Right. Even in that garden, Eve already knew better, but Adam, he followed right behind because he was right there. She done ate something. This is good. Here, try this. He went on and did something too. You see what I'm saying? So if a man's house, again, if his house is out of order, the Almighty is going to deal with that man. That man should be a husband. So we're not talking about boyfriends and girlfriends shacking up because that's out of order, because that's why we're in the situation that we're in today. We have more baby mamas and baby daddies in this country than we have husbands and wives. So in other words, we put the cart before the horse. You see what I'm saying? So we are a people out of order. It's like, at what point do we get to the point and say, you know what? Let me go back and do what the Almighty said and seek the old path. That means if we seek the old path, then that means we have to get back to tradition, even if we've never been there. What's your thoughts on what I just said there?
Yeah. I absolutely. I know the order. I know the order of the Most High. And I know the order of marriage because not only because I've done been through it, but I done seen it. But I would say, most women today, like the issue with today is that, women been given access to things that normally they shouldn't have access to. And that's been done systematically because they want, like I say, the powers that be, they want our households out of order. They want us relying on them for all things, our food, clothing, shelter. And the way to do that is to give the power over into the woman. Give her access to the kids, give her control of the house, because a house is a man's safe haven. That's where he actually builds himself up. That's where he has peace. That's where when he walks into his house, you know what I'm saying, he's renewed. His stress is gone. You know what I'm saying? He has control. If he don't have control over anything in his life, he's supposed to have control over his household and over his children and over his woman. That's his portion as a man. That's our portion in his lifetime. The scriptures say man's days are few and full of trouble. So our reward for our hard work, that's why we got to go out here and get the resources. We got to get the money. We got to work and do all these things. And when a man can't do these things, of course, his helpmeet is supposed to be there to help him. But if you don't have control over anything in life, you're supposed to have control over your household. Like I said, the powers that be, they've given women access to things that they normally should not have access to, and that's where the problem is in relationships, marriages, or our family structure as black people. That's where the issue is coming from. It's not necessarily coming from the black man or the black woman, but it's perpetuated through our enemies and through our adversaries. But what the women, and that's why I say, that's why I asked you that question before about the black woman's loyalty. She's the least loyal. Unknowingly, she believes she's the most loyal to her house, but really she's the least loyal out of all the races on the planet, simply because she won't yield over that power unto her man. When put in that position, she won't get that power up. She won't give it up, and that's where a lot of our power struggles are. It's really a test for men. You know what I'm saying? And I respect what Abia said because I had to learn that myself. We have to pick better. We have to pick better women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And especially those, if you're spiritual, you have a relationship with the Creator, or you just have a vision for yourself in general. Like, you have to pick the right woman because every woman is not meant to be picked. You know what I'm saying? Like, some women is out here simply to test men. God created women for all type of different purposes. And we have to have our spiritual eyes open to see that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But to get back to what the partnership thing, the issue with the whole partnership thing, and most relationships, whether we know it or not, we operate as partners, as a black family, because we have to, not because men want to. Men make a lot of sacrifices and compromises. We do a lot of things we don't want to do, but we have to do it because of the position we're in. You know what I'm saying? But we as men have to realize and wake up and say, no, you don't lower, like we just talked about, you don't lower your standards regardless of what a person brings to the table. I don't care if she's beautiful, she's rich, whatever she does. You never give up your manhood and your control over your house regardless, because that's the test given from God. That's the test given from God. Are you going to allow this woman to rule over you? Or are you going to be like Abraham, like we talked yesterday? Abraham, God said he picked Abraham because he knew he would be a man that would command his house. Now, if a woman don't acknowledge, I'm gonna just keep it real. Like, let me just keep it 100. A man is supposed to dominate his woman.
Some people look at that as being negative. That's not being negative though. That's actually being right. You're supposed to dominate your woman. You're supposed to have dominion over your woman. The minute you don't have dominion over her.
Let me say this, and you're absolutely right. And the reason I want to say something, because a lot of times when we use certain words, even words that are used in the scriptures, a lot of women will be offended. That's the reason I used to say, like when the scriptures say, and he shall, in Genesis 3rd chapter 16th verse, where the Most High is speaking to the woman, and he said, and he shall rule over you. A lot of women would be upset because of that word. So I start dumbing it down and say to govern over. But then I got to the point to where I start taking that word back and putting rule back in there, because then you get to see the essence of a person.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because but see, I understand what you mean by dominating. In other words, you just have dominion over that situation and whatnot.
Right.
So what we got to do is we have to be the men that the Almighty wants us to be. Do you understand? And let me give you an example here. And I've used this example several times. If you are in a dangerous situation, right? Now, keep in mind that I just made a bold, emphatic statement that a lot of women live in their emotions, whereas men are supposed to be logic, right? Well, we're supposed to have a logical mindset. If your woman, even if somebody you're just dating at the time, and you're trying to get to know her because you want to marry her, or if it be your wife, if she's in a very dangerous situation and she's trying to be led out of that situation, do you think she would want someone who's using logic to get her out of that situation? Or do you think she's going to want somebody who's in their emotions as well to lead her into a safe place about that dangerous situation?
Nah, it have to be that logical.
It's a no-brainer. She's going to want someone with logic. And let me say something that don't make any sense at all, and then I want y'all to respond to this, because again, this is another fact. Do the research and you'll find it to be absolutely true. There are women, all black women, all across, and I'm only referring to black women, not that white women are not doing some things too, but I'm more concerned with people who look like you and me. Yeah, black women all across this country, not all women, but a whole bunch of them, that are shaming other women for loving their husband, for coming home after they got off work and cooking dinner. And a lot of women, they will show, what they're making for their husband, because they want to cook for their husband. They want people to say, hey, I'm treating my man good. They are getting drugged by other women, calling those women pick-me's and saying that they're acting like slaves and talking about what they wouldn't do. And you can see this to where you have good women who are showing that they appreciate their husband by doing something as simple as cooking. Now, they ain't worried about when the man is getting out there and he's doing all the other little different things that he need to be doing besides working a job to take care and maintain his household. They want that automatically. Right. But if a woman is doing laundry or she's cleaning up in the house or something, other black women who look just like her are dragging them. That's an epidemic that's going on in this country right now today. Speak on it. How you feel about it?
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm not married, you feel me? So there's certain things that,
One day you hope to be married?
Yeah, one day,
Okay,
yeah.
speak on it.
I feel like when it comes to the relationship and stuff like that, is that you have to, like you said, like pay attention to her essence and how she carries herself. You feel me? And I would say also make sure like a person is, cause like, and this another thing I want to say too, is like that, us as a people right now, we dealing with a lot of trauma and healing from a lot of trauma. So you also want to make sure a person's, mental health is, there, and they're emotionally stable. Because a lot of that stuff affects how these people move, or how we move. Us as a people that look like me and you, we based ourselves on, or our actions on, low vibrational frequencies. because I can't have that. Okay, well, I'm about to come over there and mess up what you got because I ain't got it. You know, we got to get out of that. Like, you know, and that goes back to what you saying. Like, align ourselves with the Most High, and you know, you will get the things that you know, the abundance that you desire. You know, so
Understand this. When you do go into a relationship, you understand the perspective that that woman is coming from, but I want you to understand also the perspective that the Almighty wants you to lead and govern with. So you cannot, and I'm gonna say this just like I said yesterday, it's impossible to keep the Almighty's laws if an individual is running using a modern day mindset. Not saying you understand what that mindset is. I'm saying if I'm of the mindset of what modern today is, if that's the way I'm living my life, it's going to be impossible for me to keep the Most High's laws. That means I'm going to always be going against him, because if he say left and I say no, but right works for me. You see what I'm saying? Right works for us, because I let my woman get in my ear, and just like when Eve got in Adam's ear, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
There's still a consequence to pay. That's just like if your owner's manual in your brand new car say it wants you to put oil where the oil go, and it wants you to use a higher grade gasoline, then you're going to give it what prescribed for, because you don't want to waste your money. You don't want to mess something up, right? So if we don't want to mess up our relationship with the Almighty, we want to keep that order as well. Do you see what I'm saying? He already gave us the blueprint for success. But a lot of times we wander away from the blueprint because we think that, okay, well, times didn't change now. You see, so I put a garden up. That don't mean I ain't got I can clean the rims. I can get everything. I don't need to leave nothing for nobody, because we're in a different time. Hey, if they ain't got nothing to eat, that's on them. People can't just walk by my yard and just grab something up off the tree. You see what I'm saying? We don't want to get to the point where we're changing the order of this, and then next thing you know, we're changing the order of that. The world is out of whack right now. And we're supposed to be the leaders who are supposed to bring people back to the Most High. And I understand, just like I'm sure at this point in time, the average black man who's dealt with any type of woman in any kind of relationship can see the difficulties of a relationship, just like any woman who's dealt with a man can see the difficulties of a relationship. So we have to get to the point to where we want to be right. And in order for us to be right, then we got to get in there, just like we get in the book to learn the Almighty's word. We got to learn what's best. And what's best is if we go by the Almighty's word. So that means we got to figure out what the Almighty said we should do, and then get back to the old path. And you were just talking about that yesterday. You see what I'm saying? If we want to be successful, but understanding everybody's not going to be on your page. Everybody's not going to be on your page, because it's going to be foreign to them, because it's not going to be what the world is doing today.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? And when people are not doing what the world is doing today, they think something wrong.
nah, that's definitely true. I'm not disagreeing on that at all, because you know we are out of align with the Most High, but I think, you know, we starting to come back to that consciousness for those who are He is calling to, you know, because everybody ain't meant to be saved, you know, but we do have to pay attention to, you know, how we conduct ourselves, you know what I'm saying, and make sure we do stay connected to that higher source, because, you know, we are, what's the word I'm looking for? We are the leaders to bring us back to the nation that we once was, you know.
Okay.
So that's what I want to say.
I'm going to ask both of y'all a question. And Elder Abia, I want you to chime in on this question, and anybody else as well. I'll be very clear in the way that I ask this, because this question is not to offend anybody at all. A person, first of all, whether it be a male or a female, They don't have to tell somebody else that they know their value, because they'll automatically know who they are and what they are about. And most people will be the first to claim that their value is here when it might only be here. So I'm going to ask a question, and here's my question. Men should be very careful, as women should be very careful. Like if a man asks you as a woman to be his wife, you need to have had to have the opportunity to be familiar with that man to know if that's the type of man that you would allow to lead you before you answer that question. If you have those commonalities that you need to be in place before you answer that question. Likewise, a man should know what he's looking for, be certain what he's looking for. And that woman, again, she should be certain what she's looking for. So here's my question. And this is not a trick question. If a man is looking for a woman to be his wife, and this woman, she wants to be a wife. Now, keep in mind, in most cases with our people, that woman was not taught how to be a wife. And in most cases, that man was not taught how to be a husband. Now, but if we go by what the Almighty says, if we use that as the blueprint, right? And so we're going to take this just random woman here, and we're going to take this random man. Who determines, now this is going to be either the male or the female, who determines what that woman's value is to that man in that relationship? Because he wants to take on an asset. He don't want to take on a liability. And a woman should go in wanting to be an asset, not a liability. And the reason I'm asking this question, because all men are not created equal and all women are not created equal. Is it the woman who tells that man she know what her value is and she's a value to him? And is it that the man is going to see her as an asset and not necessarily a liability? So my question is, who in that relationship determines what that value of that woman is in that relationship? Am I making myself clear on that? Because I don't want it to seem like I'm picking on anybody or anything. And I'm saying that because a lot of times a woman she will declare what her value is in that relationship, but it ain't nowhere near what that man might be thinking it is, because it might not be a good match. You see what I'm saying? And so nothing should be forced on anybody, because that woman might feel like, wait a minute, she's too good for this man. But this man might feel like he's too good. How does this work to where you get the right match? And then after that, then I got some other things I want to show. But first, we want to determine, should a man be able, is it up to that man to determine what value that woman brings to that relationship? And that's what I mean by it. Because I would say it's that man that should be able to determine, based on his relationship with the Almighty and the orders, the things that he wanted to have in place. In other words, is she submissive? In other words, will she allow him to lead? Because if you get a woman that's always argumentative and she don't want to allow him to lead, wait a minute, that value gets lower and lower. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm saying this because there has to be an order, but the man and the woman needs to know what that order is. That's the reason people should never jump into a marriage without discussion, or without a discussion indicating what the roles in that relationship are, and who should be doing this and who should be doing that. And everybody should have integrity, and they should do the things that they say that they are going to do. You can't say, I'm going to do this because I know that's my role, but then you get into that relationship and all of a sudden you don't want to do it no more. You know, like if that man get into it and he say, well, you know what? I was paying the mortgage, but you know what? I'm tired of working, baby. I want to stay home for a while. Well, get out there and get a job. You're supposed to be my helpmate. See, it don't work like that. But y'all understand what I'm saying? So anybody listening by way of the internet here, tell me, it's either going to be the male, which is going to be the husband, or it's going to be the female, which is the wife. Let's be honest in the sight of the Almighty. who determines what value that woman brings to the relationship? I guess that's a better way to put it. Who determines the value that she brings to the relationship? Does she determine the value, or does that husband determine the value? Y'all speak on it.
You want to go ahead?
You go and then you go.
Yeah. Well, the standard already been set. Like the standard has already been set by the Almighty. And this is a quote. I'm gonna go ahead and make this one of my quotes that's in the scriptures. Where's the tokens of her virginity? You know what I'm saying? Because that right there is one of the standards that actually determines a woman's value is her previous relationships, if there are any. So the standard already been set. Like the Almighty defined what's a good man and what's a bad man. He defined what's a good woman and what's a bad woman. You know, so it's not that a man determines the value or the woman determines the value. But I will say this: if you a king, you better determine the value of this woman if you bring her into your house and you bring her into your existence. And woman, if you felt like you're being wrong, you better fight for what you believe in. Like if you feel like you bring something to the table and you're not getting your props, you're not getting your rewards for that, then fight for what you believe in. You know, the scriptures also say all things with good advice, things are established. So you know, having people from the outside, like you know, every man know like when you first start dating a woman, you take her around, you know what I mean, you see what your homies think about it, you see what your parents think about it, you know what I'm saying, because you may not be able to see certain things, but your parents may be able to see something, or your friend may be able to see something, or your brother, you know what I'm saying. So you know it's a combination of all three really, but depending on who you are, you know what I'm saying, regardless of who you are, you want to make sure that whatever your value is being equally measured. It's being rightfully measured. But as I said, the standard already set by the Almighty. So
Let me say this because I want to be clear on that. And what you just said is absolutely right. But and I wasn't talking. And I probably should have made that clear. I wasn't talking about the virginity part only because I know in most cases in this land today that most likely, in most cases, she's not going to be a virgin. So I'm talking about, is she submissive? Is she going to play her role? Is she going to be the type who likes to argue? Is she you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, is she going to fulfill the role of a wife and it not be an issue? Because a lot of times in modern times here, a woman is not going to do certain things and she'll swear, she says she know what her value is. Like I just said, a lot of these women today will never be married because they're saying what they won't do. A lot of them are saying they will never let a man rule over them. And for real, get out there and do the
I heard
research.
that.
They're saying they will never be submissive to
I heard a woman say, "I'll never submit."
Yeah, because they believe being submissive is a weak thing.
Right, like some slavery or something.
I was gonna say like social media is a big problem on why relationships can't work as well, because that whole facade of, you know, that celebrity status. Oh, my fault. Yeah, but just that whole facade of living like a celebrity and being like a celebrity, and the likes and you know the comments, like you know that gave especially females, and not every female, but a false ego. You know, because they think just because they got that thing between them, you know what I'm saying, that controls everything. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a tool for procreation. You know what I'm saying? And they use that as a destruction tool against men that, you know, but go ahead.
No. I didn't mean to cut you off, but let me say this. Based on what you were just saying, they listen to the Mega Stallions and the Cardi B talking about I don't cook and I don't clean. Now you got all these women who talking about they don't cook and they don't clean and they shame other women. They call them pygmies. They call them slaves because they're doing something that's nice and appropriate for their husband. And it's the single woman who will probably never ever have a husband who's saying all these things. Feminism has done a job on a lot of our women here.
yeah, we got to get back to the way lions operate. We gotta operate like lions. You know what I'm saying? We gotta stop operating like, you feel me, like everything else. We gotta operate like Lion King. You know what I'm saying? Because right now we all mixed up, matched up. The Almighty said this about our people, though. He said we wanted to be like the other nations, so he sent us amongst them. So that's always been in our heart. We have a low self-esteem about who we are. Black people have a low self-esteem. That's our problem. Black women especially. Like you said about the wearing the wigs and all this that, and a lot of it, and that's the Almighty took that beauty away from them because of how they abused their power aforetime. Like once upon a time, our women was way more beautiful than what they are now. When we had our own house and our own country and all that, our women were 10 times more beautiful than what we see today. Beautiful hair, beautiful skin, beautiful smile, beautiful, just beautiful, right? Almighty took all those things away because they abused their power. So
It was
Same thing with men. You know what I'm saying? But all of this just come from a lack of self-esteem. Like black people have a hard time being who God created us to be. I know God created us to be lion culture.
we lost our essence though. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
Like, and I ain't trying to cut you off. I really want to, but it's more of like they stripped us of what we built for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because like me personally, like I know music was a big thing that changed, and it's a big influence on how the culture moves. Well,
They stripped us or y'all stripped us?
we sold our culture. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say it in that term. We sold our culture. You know, and I think because of that, this is the result of what's happening right now. And we need to control our narrative and, you know, quit looking up to social media and the celebrities, because just as you just said, like the Cardi B and the Megs, like, that line that you said, I don't cook, I don't clean. And her husband blasted her for that because she was at home cleaning and cooking. You know what I'm saying? So I think people need to get themselves together and be your own, be your own hero. And you know what I'm saying? Like really like, just really pay attention to yourself and like what's going on out here. And if you want your kids to really follow that trend, you know what I'm saying? Cause the babies out here singing Sexy Red and, you know, Hands on Your Knees. And I think, you know, as much as our destruction, is also, you know, for us a way to see how we living out here with the social media. Like y'all need to pay attention to, you know, on what direction the culture, how they trying to make us. And
Let me say this. And ladies, I'm gonna say this, and I hope I don't get hate. Like I said, if a black man sometime tell the truth, he's gonna receive some hate. And this ain't about trying to diminish anybody. It ain't trying to tell anybody anything. But I have a question. I'm gonna make a statement. Then I have a question, and then we're gonna go to some other things that I have here. Remember, I made that statement. I said I've literally seen it, especially with younger folks. They'll put on a different wig, whether it be blue or red or green or whatever, just long or whatnot. And then I literally, because I'm around it all the time, and I literally watch the personality of the person change according to the hair that they put on their head. Now, black folks have always accused white folks of trying to steal the culture, being culture vultures and everything. But the Almighty made us in his image and in his likeness. And we were the essence of beauty, just like the Most High. I have a question, and I can understand if you have like somebody who's a burn victim and things like this, and they go put on a wig. But why is it that it seems like every woman now is wearing the hair that appears to be from the culture of your oppressor? I don't see women going back with Afro wigs or kinky black wigs or things like that, because I do personally believe that a woman's natural hair will turn a natural man on. I am so serious about that. I'm not trying to dictate about what somebody do. I just want us to consider that it seems to me that we're forgetting that the Almighty made us in his image and the essence of beauty. He took away a lot of things. But if we're going to call ourselves replacing it, why not replace it with something that's going to show us in our true essence? And I think that makes a difference. That's just like when they ask women, BBL or natural, and they do these different surveys. Damn near every woman, for the most part, say BBL, BBL, BBL. Guess what they say when they ask the men? Natural, 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 natural. So in other words, a lot of the women, not all, a lot of the women are doing things that they think that looks good. It's not about, that's just like, ain't no man telling you to go out and buy no 4-inch fingernails and all this stuff. You know, ain't no man up there saying go buy these big eyelashes and all these different things. Women are competing with other women, and men just want to see women natural. You see that, and that's what it is.
And that's the thing, like what you said, like women are competing with each other. Like that's their whole thing. Like, and I've talked to, like when I was doing my podcast, I would have conversation with just different people and just to get their perspective on things. And if I done heard females say, you know, they get the BB, or they heard their friends talk with their friends and say that, you know, they get the BBL because they have to stay in competition because they know that their beauty clock is running out. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Well, I don't think that's a bad concept because not the artificial thing. That's a horrible concept, but understanding that there is competition out here and you got to stay up on your men and women. You got to stay competing because there's always somebody out there that want what you got. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that's a bad concept to have. I just think they go about it the wrong way. And I think a lot of men, we have to learn to build our women up, build the esteem of our women up, and let them know, like, it's cool to be natural. Like, if you got a little fro, rock that fro. Like, you know
There you go.
And they have to believe that. They have to believe in themselves as well to make sure that, you know, that energy keeps multiplying.
I feel like we gotta learn to love women past their flaws a lot of times because that's what the scripture said love is. The scripture say love cover all sins. You know you truly love somebody when you put up with their BS. Mm-hmm. But at a point of time, you have to understand, you have to evolve past that. You know what I'm saying? So many years without any change, it's like you don't respect what we have. You don't respect yourself. You don't respect me. So it's like without that change being there, it's like we don't want to stay in toxic environments. And I think we as a people, we are so accustomed to just being toxic, to just being backwards. And it's like, okay, when are we going to change? Like, what is it going to take to get us to change and really change our perspective like we should? And the only thing I see that could change that is pain. Pain has always brought black people together. Pain and danger has always corrected the hearts of black people. You know what I'm saying? While we have prosperity, while there's money out here, PPP loans and stimulus and good credit, and you know what I'm saying? Well, we see what God doing to this kingdom. He's slowly tearing it down. Like, so what are we gonna do when all of those things run out? Like, we gotta start getting ourselves together right now. We shouldn't wait until the system fall for us to start getting things together. We have to start right now, you know. And I think that just it's really hard, and that's why I do love the Marriage and Relationships podcast, because it's really hard for us to advance as a people if we don't have our households together. Right. And I think, man, we just gotta put our foot down at the end of the day, because women ain't gonna change.
I think accountability is just the main thing that we make sure we have to stay in contact with, because that's how you evolve. Accountability.
Let me say this. And some people will get offended. Like I say, I wish men and women communicated in a way to where we didn't have communication issues. Women say they want a man to be honest and tell the truth, but in a lot of cases, most men who've experienced dealing with women know that if they tell the truth, it's going to lead to an argument. So let me give you an example. I've said yesterday, and I'll say again today, that an individual who lives by the way of entertaining a modern day mindset cannot keep Yah's law. And for anybody who's trying to be married and be under the umbrella of Yah's protection, if you have a modern day mindset versus that traditional mindset, then that's a bad choice. It would be a bad choice for me to willfully go out and marry someone if I had a traditional mindset, knowing that they're not thinking the way that I think, that their priorities are not the same priorities that I'm having. That would be a bad choice. And then I have to say that in most cases, a woman wants a man to communicate, right? But then when a man starts to communicate, then that's where the problem starts, because you just said something about accountability. And I know that we have some men that don't take accountability, but ladies, if we're going to be honest, let's keep it a buck. Most women know that you've been trained from the time you were a little girl. You know, as a little girl, you would get away with more than your brother would, you see, and it's partly of the parents' fault. It's the father's fault, because fathers love their daughters so much. Not that we don't love our sons, but they were able to get away with so much more. And then as they grew up into society, society is geared for women. You see what I'm saying? And even with the feminist movement and the court system, everything is geared for a woman. So women, it's almost like they get that free pass and not having to be accountable. And so today I'm making a bold statement. And ladies, just tell me if I'm being honest, because I am saying today in this country, most of our women, not all, most of our women shun accountability. And I know that's a bold statement to make, but I need us to at least acknowledge something so that maybe the discussion can get started, because that's the conversation that's all over this country right now. Ladies, do this right here. A lot of the issues that the average guy have, well, let me change. It ain't even the average guy. Most guys in this country, most black guys in this country are having the same issues with the females they're dealing with. Most. Again, not all. I'm not talking about all women. Most guys in this country, that's a bold statement. I challenge you to get out there and do the research yourself. So I'm saying there's an epidemic going on in this country. And I see Yah is working. And I believe Yah's trying to see who's going to be with him and who's not going to be with him. He said he'll be with us as long as we be with him. So now let me ask a few different questions right here, because I was talking about when persons are looking for a relationship. I'm going to ask this question. I want us to flip it both ways. I want the women to look at this how does he fit into this equation? And I want the men to see, how does she fit into this equation? So in the dating process, let me use women for an example here. How does she make you feel starting out? And I say this because people put off a certain energy, right? Everybody's going to put off a certain energy. So ladies, when you're trying to meet somebody, or when you're meeting somebody, or even the person that you're with to this very day, how do they make you feel? For the most part, because you're familiar with that energy. Now, you're not familiar with that new energy, especially if it's a new experience. Does she conduct herself as wife material? Does he conduct himself as husband material? In other words, when y'all about and y'all just having a good time, can you visualize actually being with this person for a length of time, for the rest of your life? So when you're trying to meet somebody, I'm talking about that energy. And see, we should actually, especially those that are older, you should actually get a good feel for people. If you live long enough and you pay attention to people, you can tell if somebody's covering something up, even if you can't quite put your finger on what it is. You can tell if you got some pretty good chemistry there, because we can only be actors and actresses for so long. But this is just off the rip. Does she make you feel like you can, does she make you feel like you can trust her? Does he make you feel like you can trust him? You see what I'm saying? This works both ways. Do you think, and see, here's a way that you can actually test somebody. And, I'm just going, I've done a lot of different things. So say, for example, you take $100 bill, right? And you act like you didn't know that it slipped out of your pocket, right? You act like you didn't know it slipped out of your pocket. So you say, I'm going to the bathroom, and you get up and she right there beside you. You get up and you go to the bathroom. When you come back, either that $100 bill gonna be there, or either she gonna have in her hand say, "Hey, look, this must have came out of your pocket or something." But if that $100 bill ain't right there, right? And say she knew you had a few, you might have had some money folded up in your pocket, right? But there's $100 bill there. If you come back to that seat and she don't say anything, and that $100 bill ain't right there, she just failed the test that she didn't even know she was taking. And ladies, you can do the same test on him because you want to know if somebody's going to be right by you. Do you see what I'm saying? So there are certain things that we need to be, we need to pay attention to.
Can I comment on
Yeah, you can comment. I got a few things going down here, but go ahead, please. By all means, comment.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I feel like you do gotta test relationships. Just to add on to what you just said, just add on more to what you said. The test is already gonna be there. You just gotta keep your eyes open. You know what I'm saying? Because she gonna tell you exactly who she is. If that's one thing I know about women. They ain't gonna let you know who they are.
You watch,
Men, on the other hand, men, we be perfect sometimes. Women gonna let you know who they are. You just gotta keep your eyes open and believe them when they say certain things. But like you said, we visual creatures, so a lot of times we ignore the signs. But women be telling you though. I'll be right back.
Okay, let me finish this. Wait. Is she willing to go by the standards that you set? In other words, if you say, if you're going to date me, I need exclusivity, period. I don't want you saying you're trying to get to know me, but at the same time, you're dating another person or a couple of other people, because then you're not putting that effort really into getting to know you. And the
Right.
things that she may or may not be doing with you, she may or may not be doing with that same individual, or those other individuals as well.
Right.
So, see, a lot of times we have to be a matter of fact. My mic was off. I hope that they heard me. We have to be a matter of fact when we're in the process of trying to get to know someone. We have to let them know what our standards are, what we're looking for. Matter of fact, we don't always have to let them know what we're looking for, because then they can cover that up.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you know what you're looking for, but you just have to let them know that you have standards and that you actually have deal breakers. And if you tell somebody what a deal breaker is, knowing, and women know this, and men should know that, and I believe King was wise enough to understand this, women are always going to test you throughout the entire relationship.
Sure will.
They're going to always test you. And you should always be ready to make sure you pass that test. In other words, you don't lower your standards. And I have to tell guys as well, never, ever, never, ever put a woman on a pedestal. Because if you put her on a pedestal, it's like you looking up, and so now you're beneath her. And so things will change.
They definitely.
Because it's going to make her feel like you're worshiping her. And I'm going to tell you, I've been foolish at times in my life where I did just that very thing, because I wanted the person to know just how much I appreciated them. And so I lifted them up. But that I learned the hard way. See, I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
You never, ever, ever do that. Never, ever do that. You will soon regret it. Let's see.
You will.
Mm-hmm. Does she understand what a wife is? Speak on it. Does she understand? See, you don't want to date somebody and be talking about marriage and y'all have never discussed what the responsibilities of a wife is, just to make sure she knows. And the reason I have to say that, the reason I have to put it like that is because a lot of times a man and a woman will get married. Mess around and get married, but then once they get married, Then they think things are just going to automatically work itself out when nobody knows what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? He's not been married. She's not been married. Nobody's taught them about marriage or anything. And next thing you know, now that good relationship that they had then turned bad, you know, in a very short amount of time because he's expecting this and she's expecting that when there was absolutely no conversations had about what he's going to be doing and what she's going to be doing.
I think that when it comes to the relationship, that she has to like if we're going to be talking about if we're dating for that type of intent, then yeah, communication has to be open for that, because if she's looking for a relationship or dating to be married and this man is over here just looking for a good time, then it's going to be some heartbreaks because communication wasn't there.
Let me say this. The only reason people should be dating is for the sake of trying to build a relationship for marriage. They shouldn't just be playing house. Man and woman shouldn't just be out defiling one another. You see what I'm saying? And I got to say this again, and then tell me what you think about what I'm saying here. First, before I even say what I'm gonna say, does the woman that you're dating understand that it's the man who's going to qualify her to be a wife? She's not going to be the one who qualifies herself to be this man's wife. It's going to be that man who qualifies her. Either she's going to fit the criteria or she's not going to fit the criteria for what he's looking for. And most good men just want a good woman. That's it. And most good women, I would like to think, just want a good man. But nowadays, the good woman not only wants a good man, she wants the rarest of men. That nowadays, a woman in modern times, our women want the top 10%. It's only 10% of men basically who making $100,000 a year. But they want this man, and they not only want him to make they got a limit on how much he can make, but when you get a man, he'll marry a woman from Taco Bell. He don't care about no money that she got. She could be a maitre d' someplace, but if she's kind, if she's sweet, he's not worried about her money. Do you see what I'm saying? He will even, if she's a kind person, he might even take her with a child or two. But a woman, again, will shame a man because he has standards, but she has standards as well. And the average woman gonna say what she wants. He got to be making this much money. He got to be this tall. You get a lot of women, they won't take a guy that's shorter than them.
But I think when we discuss what our standards are, we are considered sassy.
Do you know what that word means? In other words, you're being disrespected because you have standards. You're being disrespected because you have standards. When a woman call you sassy, leave her stank tail alone, because they got all kinds of things that's supposed to demean a man today because you don't want to comply with what they want. You see what I'm saying? So they can have standards, right? And then most of their standards are absolutely delusional, to be perfectly honest. But if you have standards, then you're sassy. See, they want a tall guy that's in shape with a six-pack and all this old type of stuff, but you're supposed to take a little dumpy woman who don't even want to take care of herself.
With 3 kids, probably.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
By 3 different baby daddies, but then they gonna shame you because that's not what you want. Let me ask you a question. Is that what she would have her son? If she had a son, would she advise her son to go for this woman who got 3 different baby daddies? You know, and she ain't gonna do that. She ain't gonna do that. Not if she love her son. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, sometimes, again, not all ladies, but some of these women are so daggone delusional. You have to be very careful and always discuss marriage and what the roles are, if in fact that's what you're looking for. But I'm going to tell you, that's the only reason a person should be dating. You know, and the dating actually shouldn't be a physical thing. I'm going to make this statement. We've made it before, but for the sake of making it now, I need us to understand, and the people that's listening here, anytime, and this is going to be a little bit bold, but I got to make this statement because I need you ladies to understand this right here. I keep saying, don't let these guys trick you and open up your legs, and don't be the type of woman who just want to go out and open up your legs, because I'm going to tell you, the more The more sexual partners that you've had, it's going to make it completely impossible. I said impossible to pair bond with a person that you're looking to marry. And it's not going to work out very well. That's the reason it was supposed to be a virgin that a man was marrying in the beginning. That's the reason that the Almighty said in Deuteronomy 24 that if a man gave a woman a bill of divorcement, now mind you, she was most likely coming from her father's house. She was a virgin. If that man had an issue with whatever that issue was after they were married, he gave her a bill of divorcement, she could leave that house and then she could go be another man's wife. If that other man died or he gave her bill of divorcement, then that first husband could not take her back because the Almighty let us know that land, speaking of that woman, was greatly polluted. So imagine if a woman has had 5 sexual partners, 10 sexual partners, 20 sexual partners. And ladies, if y'all get out there on the internet today, I know some of y'all are real good about keeping your business right and not being out there being like that. But there's masses of women that have been out there who will tell you their body count and be proud of it. And there be some astronomical numbers. What I am saying is, guys, you never, ever, ever, never, ever want to marry a woman like that. It will not be a benefit for you. It will most likely be a detriment for you. And she will never, ever be able to pair bond with you. And you will always be compared to someone else. And that is not going to be productive for any relationship whatsoever. So ladies, I am saying, I know some ladies, just like some guys, just want to get out there and have a good time and do this, that, and the other. But you're hurting yourself in the long run. You're actually hurting yourself. So I'm saying this because me personally, I'm not, if I was a single man, I'm going to ask the woman what her body count is before I married her. Now, I don't know how a lot of guys, I don't know if you would do that or if you would do that or other guys, but I would say you should ask. And then if they get hesitant or if they say, well, why should that matter? That's a, that's a gigantic red flag when they say, well, why should that matter? Because I'm going to tell you, you might not realize it, but she's going to be comparing you to everybody else. Now, understand this as well. Anytime a man, and I've said this before, and I don't want to keep saying this on this particular podcast, anytime a man deposits inside of a woman, he's inputting his DNA in this woman. That's a biological fact. So if a woman has had a lot of different imprints, if you will, placed into her, then you wonder why when sometimes people say, man, she crazy. You see what I'm saying? She's dealt with a lot of people. See, now not justifying any man for dealing with multiple partners, not dealing with any man, but that man nobody's putting anything in him. I'm not condoning that at all. You see what I'm saying? I'm not condoning that. But a woman has to be very careful that she don't give away her virtue. That's when her real value comes in. Y'all see what I'm saying? But a lot of times people don't understand that because of the modern day mindset. And the modern day mindset say, you can do whatever it is you want to do. He's not the boss of you. You can do what you want to do. Well, the Almighty condemns it. He condemns the whore and the whoremonger. Right? So I'm not just putting nothing on a woman. He condemns that because you can't have a whore without a whoremonger, right?
Right.
So we have to be mindful of certain things, especially if we just want to have good, positive relationships. And I know it's a lot to pack, and I know a lot of times people don't want to hear certain things. But if we don't speak up and stand up for Yah, then what are we doing? What are we doing? And I know a lot of times people will be angry. I know they'd be angry at me because I'm going to tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell the truth. And I say I've been guilty of some of the things that I talk about now. And the thing is, when we learn better, we're supposed to do better. And anybody who learn better and just don't want to do better for whatever reason that they have, that's on them. That's between them and their creator. Period. I'm just a messenger. We all supposed to be messengers and we're supposed to be our brother's keeper, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of times people get mad at the truth. So let me shut my mouth and somebody can take over from there.
Comments up here.
Check them out. How many people gonna cut me up here?
Uriah, he wanted to know what you think about Yada Awakening and his thoughts on relationship.
Who?
Yada
Yada.
Awakening. You seen some of his videos?
No, I haven't. I'm not familiar.
Probably
with
say
it.
that for another day then. But he got a different approach.
Who was that? Uriah, you say?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to write that thing.
He kind of
down.
viral. He going viral a little bit on
I'm
some
gonna
of the
have
things
to-
he talking about. But he's defending the woman. He like, you need to have like 5,000 before you ask for a marriage. Before you ask for.
This black guy?
Yeah.
Oh, man, talking about you need to pay for her clothes, get her hair, and all this stuff done.
Something like
He's
that.
pandering the woman, trying to get his money up, man.
That's the Steve Harvey's right there, man.
Steve Harvey too.
Think like a man.
We go tell the truth because I done said. Well, I know what he all about.
Nah, we'll just call him when it's time for that process, since he think we should do it.
What else we got?
Hold on.
Man? Yeah, that makes sense.
Shalom to Bathia Israel. She commented from Facebook. She says, Shalom, family. The man shall only step to a woman if he sees the value in her specific to his vision for his life.
But he's got to get to know her, though.
That's
I agree with what you said, but he's definitely got to get to know her because I'm going to tell you right now, you got to ask questions and hopefully you get some honesty. That way, see, a person don't want to buy a surprise package. You see what I'm saying? You want to know what you're getting. You definitely want to know what you're getting.
and see her all 4 seasons of him and her, whoever you're dating. You need to see them all seasons. See what they like when this happens. See what it like when this happened. You know what I'm saying? Really see if they fit that list.
And that's true because I'm gonna tell y'all, ladies, and I'm gonna tell you something that you don't want to hear. There are some guys. There are some guys who may not care about your body count, but that's gonna be very rare. That's gonna be very rare. If you're looking for a good man gonna care. A good man is definitely gonna care. So I'll leave it at that.
I think a lot of men are trained not to care.
You're right.
A lot of men are trained not to care about a woman's body count.
That's society trying to push that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, as youngins, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like even how men talk sometimes, like where the age is at. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times to men, they don't, we not taught to care about that. But it's like when you're trying to pick a wife, that's like one of the major things. And I know y'all, I don't know if y'all all asked the woman that like what their body count is, but most women they won't. Yeah, I have too. But I didn't get an answer. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what I mean.
Right. I didn't get an answer. You know what I'm saying? And I realize why women don't do that because they don't want to be looked at as a hoe. You know what I'm saying?
But they know they will be judged off of that though. Like
That's what I'm saying though, and they don't want to give a man that type of leverage.
Let me say this. Say this so that women get a thorough understanding because I'm under the belief that most women, especially modern women, do not know what a whore is. So I'm going to give a biblical definition of what a whore is based on the Almighty's word. A whore is any woman who lays with a man to have intercourse with him that is not her husband. I am not talking about if a man, let me use raped, G-R-A-P-E, because I know certain things you can't necessarily say. And so if a woman was attacked, I am not talking about that. But if a woman willfully lays down with a man that is not her husband, according to the Almighty's word, she's a whore. And there are women by the droves on social media, the internet, YouTube, all day long, every day, saying that they would rather be a whore than to be a man's wife. There are women that would say that they would rather have a baby and raise a baby than to be married to a man. All day long. We have a backwards mentality and think that that's going to make us be prosperous.
Comments. She also said, and then the two of the people that are in that relationship need to thoroughly communicate one another's roles and making sure that dream is met. No, I agree with her on that. I mean, I don't want a woman in my life that ain't aligning with what I want. You know what I mean? So, Timmy said they're doing what pleased themselves. And then Shoshana McCovey, I think she's out of Carolina. Shalom, if you still watching, Shoshana. A man should be going through a woman's parents. If the family and the young women are in Torah, it will help avoid a lot of mess.
That depends. That depends, because we get a lot of people. That's just like it might be a guy who got the Bible in his hand, quoting stuff as he trying to get this woman into the bedroom. You know, we know things like that happen. So it has to be a person who has more of a righteous mindset, who's trying to be right. You see, because the way he's going to lead is the way that he comes at you in the beginning, throughout the course of the relationship. So if he come at you on some bull, most likely he's going to try to lead on some bull as well. So ladies, be very mindful of that, you see.
I would just say don't ignore the red flags though, because people, you need to verify, just make sure people are who they say they are though, because people change, you know, in seasons, circumstances, or whatever the situation may be. So that's what I would say to it, you know, because it's definitely good and bad that come with everything.
I wanted to pull this clip up real quick, let you see this and get your thoughts on this clip right here.
Unstable and also mentally unstable, because it's in a man's nature to protect and provide. Now you have some men that say, man, money ain't that. Men that scream 50-50 are financially unstable and also mentally unstable, because it's in a man's nature to protect and provide. Now you have some men that say, man, money ain't everything. You're only saying money isn't everything because you're financially unstable and you're trying to make an excuse on why you can't provide for the woman you chose. How are you choosing women and then telling them that they're going to work to pay half of the bills because you're unable to be 100% man? And then you get mad when she's talking.
Let me comment on dude, and we're going to run this back. So far, I'm going to tell you right now, homie is full of crap, because first of all, a man's resources is for his wife, not just because he's a man. And that's a lot of the crap that the women of today, the modern-minded women today, tell a man, well, you a man, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. No, if a man fall for that okie doke, then shame on him. A man's provisions, again, is for his wife. Now, out here in today's time, women are telling men just to date them, you're supposed to do this. Where the heck did they get that from? Like I say, even on them Papa Balloon shows that they got on the internet and all this little type of stuff. People come out there, women come out there talking about when they asked her what is she looking for in a man, oh well, I'm looking for a provider. You already know what she's on. She's on some dumb stuff. She ain't saying nothing about she's looking for somebody she can connect with, that can possibly one day be her husband or something like that. She ain't saying that. Then they come on these different shows looking all daggone scandalous with clothes half on and half off and all this. And this young man right here, he ain't nothing but a pander to women. That's how he making his daggone money. But go ahead and play it. We'll play it again a second time, just to know.
Let you see through him.
I see right through him like he ain't nothing but a glass jar.
Tone that you dislike. How can you demand respect in a home that you're making her pay 50-50? Men that scream 50-50 are financially unstable and also mentally unstable because it's in a man's nature to protect and provide. Now you have some men that say, man, money ain't everything. You're only saying money isn't everything because you're financially unstable and you're trying to make an excuse on why you can't provide for the woman you chose. How are you choosing women and then telling them that they're going to work to pay half of the bills because you're unable to be 100% man? And then you get mad when she's talking to you in a tone that you dislike. How can you demand respect in a home that you're making her pay 50-50?
Speak on Dutch again here, real quick. He's a goofball, and I generally don't even talk like that because not one time at all did this man even mention anything pertaining to marriage. And then I would advise people that if they are living together, and they shouldn't be, not unless they roommates. Let's just say for the sake of their being roommates and not intimate or anything like that. Get out, see, because grown folks have responsibilities. Grown folks supposed to pay their own bills. If he's not married to her, if she's not married to him, just because she's in a daggone home, that don't put no burden on no man and make that man feel like he's less than a man because he's not financing somebody else's life just based on the premise that he's a man. Do you see what I'm saying? So no, this is a bunch of foolery, and that, you're right. He ain't nothing but a daggone Steve Harvey, and I'm gonna tell it like it daggone is. You know, that's how he's making his money because see, women got to have somebody like that on their side, and he know he's gonna make a bunch of money. But this man, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Yeah, he's the same guy. He's the same guy. He's the same guy.
You know what?
You keep leading her to a brick wall. You couldn't lead her. You don't want her to be submissive. You want her to be stupid. You want her to trust your leadership even though you keep leading her to a brick wall. You couldn't lead her to love. You led her to depression. You couldn't lead her to the best version of herself. You led her to anxiety. You don't want submissiveness. You want her to be stupid. And then you get mad when she's smart. Baby, I don't trust you to lead me no more. I'm going to do it my way. Oh, I'm the man. You going to do it my way. What is your way? Poverty? What is your way? Mental breakdowns? What is your way? Deep down depression? You men don't want submissive women. You want them to be stupid. You want them to submit to nothing. You want them to submit to the devil in you, yet still build you a heaven. You are men. You are devils in men form. You must go to war with yourself. If you love that woman, lead that woman, guide that woman, and protect that woman, even if it's from you, all praises due.
Even in the form, did he mention the Most High name, even in the form of God or Yah, or did he mention any marriage? Any man, see, women love stuff like that because it's going to validate any and everything that a woman say. It's going to validate that. But if you ask this jerk and get him out and say, validate what you say. See, here's what I loved about Morey Elisha. Morey Elisha he told us we had to be able to validate everything that we say by the word. If we can't do that, something wrong. We can't just speak about a turn and I need to be able to make sure I can qualify my statements. So Where's he qualifying his statements at? He ain't gonna never qualify because that's not the word. Whose word is that? It ain't the Almighty's. It definitely ain't. It definitely ain't whether they call him God or no. That's some foolery right there. And because he's a fast talker and he's small and he's real smooth with his word and he dressed, because he's making money right now. Shit, I'm gonna tell you, he's snaking grass.
That facade and the materialism is,
Because he's stroking women's ego,
right.
And that's how he's making his money.
But I think, what I think is a good thing, because if a woman responds to that in a positive way, then she don't need to be, that's not the one for you.
Oh my goodness.
That's not the one for you.
Man,
He definitely doing this to create a buzz, following for himself. You know what I'm saying? But I think what he don't realize is that what he's talking about, every woman don't deserve that there. You know what I'm saying? Don't deserve that part of a man, because it's like everything has to be like when you considering taking on a woman, it's like, okay, I'm doing all of these things, but what are you gonna do for me in return? You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna submit to the laws of the Almighty if I'm providing for you and protecting you and doing all these things for you? You know what I'm saying? I think he's trying to, like, this one size fits all kind of thing for every situation. It's like every situation is not like that. Like, you may need a woman to help you pay bills. Like, you know what I'm, especially in this economy, like, come on, any good woman will understand that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're capable of doing it, why would you still not be productive to add on to the house? So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. He
for this household. And you got children in the house, you got the woman in the house, and the woman ain't working, and the children aren't old enough to work or whatnot. And this man is working 2 and 3 jobs, literally killing himself to take care of his responsibilities. And it would take a weight up off of him if that woman would go get a job. That way they can do more together. You see what I'm saying? Instead of draining all his resources, now you got somebody else coming in, so you still have something left over. This man, excuse me, I don't even talk like this on here. He's an ass. He's an ass. And the Almighty gonna deal with people like him, because he ain't even talking about marriage. He just said, if you're a man and you're leading that woman, today we know we have more boyfriend, girlfriend type relationships than we have marriages. We have more baby mama and baby daddy relationships than we have husbands and wives in this country at this time. Man, oh my goodness. He's the type of person, if I met him, I'd say something to him my daggone self.
Word. Yeah. That's what's out here, though, folks. That's what's out here. We got anything else?
No, I think we'd been going for a while, so it's a beautiful day. I think.
Happy birthday again to you, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The Almighty blessed me to be 66 years of age today.
That's a blessing.
66 years. And I'm still, for the most part, feeling good. And of course, we all have our bumps and bruises and whatnot. I just pray that he extend me a bunch of more years so that I can call on his holy name and keep fulfilling my responsibilities on this end, whether it be dealing with family or speaking to y'all's people, because I think that's a duty for life. Absolutely. That's a duty for life. But I do want us to understand before we end this podcast, ladies and gentlemen that's out here in the listening audience, that we got to be better. It's imperative that we be better, because once we learn better, then we should be doing better. And I'm of the mindset that we're tested daily, and we should be prepared to pass this open book test. If we know what the Most High Yah requires and we don't give him that willful act, right? Meaning doing the things that we should be doing just because it's the right thing to do. And that's what our mindset is, to do what's right in the sight of the Almighty. Then it's us that have the problem. And when it comes to this marriage and relationships podcast that we do here, we do it for the sake of trying to help people, not to try to harm anybody, not to try to make enemies, not to try to downgrade anybody. But we're going to expose some things that are not good. And anytime we learn something, we need to implement it if it's going to be a benefit to us. And if we don't, again, then like Moray Dan would say, shame on us. Shame on us. So I hope everybody took whatever was said the right way. I appreciate the people that's here before me, and thank you, young man, for coming on. It's definitely been a pleasure, and if you have any questions or comments, or matter of fact, are there any last comments or questions? If so, type them in real quick. If you have anything in particular pertaining to the topic which we speak on every time we do the podcast, which is relationships that hopefully will lead to a marriage, if in fact you're not already married, type it in and we'll speak on it. But be prepared to hear the truth, because that's the only thing we want to give is the truth. That being said, you got anything else?
Hit that like button, subscribe. Tap into us. We got a debate coming up at 6 o'clock. It's going to be House of Israel versus Sakari. Moray Yashashkar is going to be spearheading that debate. So go ahead and tap in with us later. Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned.
Hallelujah.